Hey travel fam, welcome back to my channel. So today I decided that I would share with you top sites where you can go to book ultra low cost fares so you can travel all over the world. Places such as Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia, Australia, and more. So in a few days, I'm actually off to a trip. I will leave the place that I'm actually going to a secret.
Tell me your secret.
Because I will soon be starting to post vlogs over in this country that I'm going to. So you want to stay tuned for that and look for the upcoming videos. For that, you definitely want to turn on your bell notification so that way you can see when I post these videos with awesome, great things you can do if you ever visit this country. The reason I decided to discuss this today is because I think, as much as I've been talking about a lot of different current events in society, and some of them can be heavy topics, it's important for us to have a work-life balance. I think it's so essential that we have that time of rest. It's even in the Bible how we need to have that balance of a time of rest. These are travel hacks, life hacks on how you can travel super cheap. So this is what I'm going to do. I will give you the list of these sites, give you little previews and perks on each site that you can look for to use when you get on this site to book your flights. And then I'm going to talk about another way you can book a flight as a bonus towards the end of this, and a bonus website I discovered where you can use it to find super low cost fares if you have flexibility in your dates of travel. Not to mention, I will also discuss ways to kind of lessen the cost of your trip. So this video can be your cheat sheet when you're booking your next flight. We'll go through all the different factors you should consider so you can be prepared to get the best deal. So you will definitely want to stay tuned to the very end of this video so that way you can get all the bonuses on how you can find other ways instead of just using websites to get the super low cost ticket you want when you're traveling to any country. So let's get into it. So now I'm going to actually explain what are the sites. I'm going to go ahead and show you what the perk of using that site is. After that, we will go into the bonuses with this secret site that most people probably aren't aware of that will help you to find ultra cheap tickets, taking your tickets from like 1,000 to sometimes as low as 500, a savings of half the cost. In addition, I will also talk about this other tip and trick for you to find super low flight tickets. So please stay tuned. So number one is Google Flights. And the reason why I chose it to be number one is based on the fact that over the years as I've been using this site and I compare it to other sites that I search for tickets as well, it's usually the one that gives me the cheapest price off the bat. Now, that's not always the case, but it's one of my go-to sites for sure. So I usually kind of keep 3 sites in mind, but if I want to, I go and use some of the other sites that I have as references to kind of see what the tickets are looking like and which one will give me the best price. The perk that I found on that website is also the fact that when you are searching for your ticket, you can kind of see the whole calendar, and they'll have different prices, the different prices for each day in that month. So you can kind of see, okay, if you have some flexibility, maybe you can leave earlier or leave later, and then, you can end up saving some money that way. And there are some of the sites that will also tell you if you leave like a day earlier or a day after, you can save, I don't know, 10 bucks or 13, whatever amount that would be the difference for that. So that's also a nice perk if you have some flexibility in your travel dates. And when you find that actual ticket they gave you that's cheapest from whatever airline, visit the airline's website as well just to make sure that you are getting the cheapest price. So the second site that I would recommend is Skyscanner, and it's usually quite good. A lot of times I can at times find savings compared to what Google Flights would offer. I like using it because you can find sometimes these cheaper flights, and it's great because the perk of that site would be that you usually can actually select the whole month. So if you have flexibility in your travel, which is always a good way to save, you can look at the whole month's calendar and decide what day you would like to fly out on, because that day could be cheaper compared to the day you had originally in mind. So that's definitely, I think, the best perk of that site. So the third one would be kayak. I'd say that after the two other sites, I would definitely try it, and at times it actually does give me a better price than the two others. So yeah, so I think it's a good option, and you can book other things on there as well, I believe, like hotels and stuff, like most of the other sites. So, and number 4 is going to be Just Fly. So Just Fly is a site that usually, it's not always the cheapest, but you can definitely find situations where, okay, the other sides seem a little bit up there, and you check it, next thing you know, Just Fly actually has a way cheaper price. So I think the ticket was like $140 or $200, and I ended up finding it on Just Fly for $116. So that was a great deal, and I definitely took it. So I think it's always worth checking it out as an option as well. I guess it all comes down to how much time you have. If you can really put in the time to check out these various sites to find which one's going to give you the best price. But you're already ahead of the game because I'm giving you these sites so you don't have to go search and figure out which ones they are. So the next two sites will be the last ones that I have to recommend for today. The first one would be Vola Gratis. It's one I use when I needed to book a last minute fare to go to Italy. It was one of my first long haul trips, and so I guess I was on the fence about it, and then I decided that I did want to do it for sure, but it was kind of last minute when I booked it. And yet that site allowed me to find a really good deal, even though I waited forever to book it. And compared to the other more common sites, it helped me to find something where it was much more affordable. So both of these sites are actually sites that are less common, I guess. Vola Gratis is an Italian-based one. It's written in Italian. It helps you to search like a local in that sense because it's a local site. Now, Momundo is just, I guess, a lesser known travel search engine, and a friend recommended it to me when I was in Southeast Asia and trying to book a last minute ticket again. And this site came through and really helped me to find a super good ticket in the last minute. I think it's good to have options for last minute booking sites because you just never know what can happen. All right, let's celebrate. You guys made it to the bonus section of the video where I'm going to be sharing with you exclusive content, travel hacks, and tips that you will definitely want to put to good use on your next travel adventure. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first bonus I have for you is going to be a website. This website is called Matrix. Not like the Matrix though. Matrix. Okay, let me get serious now. MatrixEtaSoftware.com. So this site is pretty awesome. It is a site that allows you to search in more detail and in-depth ways, which will maximize your savings. So for instance, you might find a ticket to Spain or something like that, and it's $1,000 something bucks. You can save half of that cost by using this website. But it is helpful if you have flexibility in your dates. So for instance, they have the ability for you to put, okay, you want to return on the 7th, but you give a range and you can see which one's going to give you the best return date where you can save, and it goes vice versa. Another thing is it gives you the option to have stops or not. Stopovers will allow you to have a cheaper ticket, so you want to allow it to allow as many stops as you can. But the cool thing is you can select all the different surrounding airports they'll already have as a preset, or you can just say you want to try all of the different ones at once without having to select a specific one if you're really flexible, and they can tell you which one is absolutely the cheapest option. So it's pretty self-explanatory, the site itself, but the thing is, you definitely want to keep in mind that if you can be flexible with your dates, stops, times, that kind of thing, it's only gonna maximize the chances of being able to save a larger amount on your travel. Okay, so let's get into the travel hacks, how you can kind of organize this situation so you can get the most bang for your buck. So a great tip is if you have some flexibility and you can find from a different city than the city you're in, because at times you can look and see a neighboring city and look at the cost difference to see if there is some way you can save money. For example, there's Miami and there's Fort Lauderdale. They're not that far from each other. So a lot of times flying to Fort Lauderdale is cheaper than flying to Miami. So that kind of thing where you look for a neighboring city. So an important tip that you want to keep in mind is when you are booking through third-party sites, you want to call the actual airline after you book the tickets to make sure they're there, because somewhere like Tipo Air usually reserves the space for you. Then they'll actually speak to the airline and see if they're able to actually grab that ticket for you. So the last and final tip that I have for you is if you can actually make it to the airport in advance, you can go into the airport and see if they'll allow you to just book it then. And the thing about that is they give you the direct price without any booking fees. So it's a great tool. Even if you don't do it way in advance, you can still go ahead of the flight. Or even if you have flexibility and you just want to go on a trip somewhere, just go in there and see what options they have for you. Grab a hold of that cheap ticket. Many people don't even think of this anymore because we use websites now. So in a past video, I've talked about this life hack, travel hack. It's so essential though, so I'm gonna emphasize it again, is booking your flights early. So planning early pays off. And then if you're not able to book so early, sometimes at the very last minute you might find a deal. Another awesome feature with many of these booking sites for flights, you can decide to kind of watch the ticket price to see if it's going up or down. So you can even put like your email address and they'll let you know notifications of changes in the ticket fares. The thing I would definitely recommend is trying to book them separately. So a one-way going and then a one-way coming back. And I actually did that recently and got a super savings on my ticket. And so another travel hack would be for you to check out low-cost airlines to see what deals they're offering. All right, so that's it. I hope that you will find this video helpful. God bless you, and I'll see you here next time. Until next time, find peace, love, truth, happiness, joy.